we keep saying it because it's true.
Yeah.
You need to build your business on land that you own, not land that you borrow.
Hey, freelance copywriter crew. Good morning. It is time for another episode of Copy This, Not That, the show where I bring on an expert from another part of the industry so that you can learn more about how to up-level your business and your services to better serve clients and make more money and live a happier, freedom-filled life. My guest today is Lynley Hips. Lynley and I go way back, and she's an absolute juggernaut when it comes to email marketing. Good morning, Lynley.
Good morning. Oh, you're making me blush.
I know, right? I'm super glad to have Lynley with us today because I know that so many of you have asked time and again about email marketing. Like, how do I get into emails? What's the most important thing to know about emails? So I'm super excited to hear more from you, Lynley. So tell me a little bit about your business and what your favorite parts about email marketing are.
My favorite parts. Okay. Well, so hi, everybody. I'm Lynley. And I started my business about 5.5 years ago. Is that right? 5.5?
Probably
4.5 years ago. Math is hard.
It is hard. That's why we write.
That's why we write, because we don't want to have to do math. Okay. And look, I don't even like doing 5th grade math with my homeschooled 11-year-old. Right. So, yeah. But I started my business 4.5 years ago, and I'd worked in corporate for 15 years, and it was fine. It wasn't horrible, but it was kind of the same old thing. Like, I was very comfortable. I had a good salary. I liked the people I work with, but I didn't want to spend another 15 years doing that. And so I turned 40, and then, pardon my language, I told my husband that I wanted to do something that scared the hell out of me. And I did. I walked in and handed in my resignation. And it was not without thought. It wasn't like I just on the spur of the moment was like, I'm out of here. But yeah. That would have been interesting.
Right.
But honestly, I didn't want to burn any bridges because I didn't know what was going to happen, but I did my 2 weeks and all of that. But yeah, and I started out as a social media manager, much like Christa, and realized pretty quickly that I do not like doing social media management. So you can imagine my horror at this realization, because I just away half of our income and all of that, and then I discovered I didn't like it. But, and this is going to sound like I'm like, buttering Christa up, and I really am not. But I started my business in like September, and in like November, Christa posted it in our mastermind. She said, I'm looking for somebody who can help me write some ad copy. I've just got too much stuff going on. And I was like, I mean, I can do that.
Yeah. Why not? Sure. I'll give it a try.
Yeah, sure. And, I've never had a writer title in any of the jobs that I've ever had. Like my husband for 20 years was a technical writer and a sales proposal writer. So like he is a writer,
Yeah.
I never really embraced that identity because I never had a job that was specifically writing, but I've always been a very good writer. I majored in English in college. I taught college English for 3 years. Like, give me a red pen and let me edit something, and I'm a happy camper. So Christa came to me posted in our group and said, is anybody interested? And I was like, well, this could be kind of cool. And if I remember correctly, the ads did really, really well. And
it's so funny. What the ad was for was a physical product. It was a carpet cleaner for people with pets.
Which I qualify for.
Exactly. And when you live in that, and the way that you set the hook for that ad, I immediately was like, okay, she's got potential because she understands how to capture that audience attention.
Yep.
I was super pumped. I was like, have you ever thought about copywriting? Basically planted the seed, maybe.
You did. You absolutely did. And I hadn't really thought about copywriting. Not because I didn't think it was, you know, a good move or whatever. It just literally had not occurred to me. And, you know, I'd known Christa a few months by then, and I knew that, you know, she was a copywriter and all of that. And so the more I got to know kind of what you did, the more and more I started really looking for opportunities to do more writing. And then I think it was after Funnel Hacking Live, actually, at Funnel Hacking Live, somebody, I think it was probably our friends Megan and Kelly, they said, you need to commit. Like, if you're going to do this, you need to just decide that you're going to do copywriting and not take any more social media clients. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And I did. And, you know, and it's completely changed everything. I enjoy writing more than I did now, more than I did before. Like, I think because, you know, when you're in school and, you know, I went through a master's program and wrote a thesis, like all of that stuff, right?
Right.
But academic writing is so different, and it takes a completely different set of skills. And one of the challenges that I see a lot from, you know, people who come to me for copywriting or email marketing help is they have this idea that I'm not a writer, or I'm a bad writer because I wasn't good at writing essays in high school, you know, and I'm like, it is a completely different world.
Right. How many essays have you written in your real life lately?
Right, exactly. I have not had to cite MLA or APA style at all since I got out of school. So, you know, it's like that. It was really more, can you follow this formula? And what I really like about copywriting is that you get to kind of make up your own formula and see what works and try new things. And because every client is different and every client's audience is different. And so, you know, one of the things I'm kind of a little bit jealous of for some people is, you know, they can kind of create a package, right? Like in every, you know, they can offer something to a client and they can offer that same thing to multiple clients. Right. In my experience, copywriting is not that, I don't want to say cookie cutter, but it's not. Like, every client needs something a little bit different. They use some kind of platform that they've done something with that you've got to really go in and figure out what they need. So it's almost, you're almost like, you know, a paleontologist on an expedition, you know, and you're like, I'm going to go in there and dig around and see what they really need, because so often what they say they need is, it's usually, yes, that would be a good thing. But first, right. People come to me and they'll say, can you write a welcome sequence for me for my email list? And I'm like, of course I can, no problem. Tell me about, you know, what email platform are you using, so I know what functionality I can use, like all of that. And they're like, oh, well, I don't have an email platform yet. And I'm like,
where do you keep your list? Where do they live?
you don't have a list. I mean, not really. Like a lot of times it'll be in, you know, in their CRM or in Google or in email or something. But it's kind of like, you think you need a welcome sequence. What you need first is somewhere to actually automate the welcome sequence. Yeah. So it actually ends up being more. But I really started email copywriting because I just enjoyed it. To me, it was a lot more fun. There was a lot more opportunity for personality. And all of my clients have a lot of personality, and it's been so fun. And my husband actually retired from the company that I worked for back in 2020 and came to work full time with me because he really is a writer. And one of my clients says that he writes in her voice better than she writes in her voice.
Isn't that funny? Yeah.
Like, yep. Sure
That's
does.
the goal, right? That's the goal. We write for our clients as a seamless experience, so they don't even know.
That's it. Yep.
I love how you said that you didn't plan on going into copy, but you knew you needed something different. You didn't want to be just status quo. You know, you had a very comfortable position, but you wanted to be challenged, and nothing like starting your own business to really challenge you. Tell me about that. I know there are a lot of people here who are kind of on the fence. Like, should I or shouldn't I? Should I keep doing this as kind of a little bitty side hustle, or should I go all in? am I going to be able to make enough money if I, trim down my offerings, or if I leave my 9 to 5? Like, what are a couple of tips that helped you through that transition?
I will say that transition was easier for me to make because my husband had a full-time job with insurance, all of that. So it wasn't, at the time, it wasn't like everything was riding on me figuring this thing out, and just having his support, and my parents were all on board, which kind of surprised me because, I was like, I'm going to quit my job and start my own business. And they were like, great.
Oh,
really?
I love that.
I really thought you would say, are you sure you don't want to like test the waters first?
Yeah.
But they were all on board, which made a huge difference to me. The other thing that I did, and this has completely changed my life, was I joined a mastermind. And actually the first day that I met Christa was at a live conference that Rachel Peterson, our mentor, put on. I literally, my last day of my old job was like on Wednesday, and on Thursday I flew to Minneapolis, Minnesota and to SMU Live at the time. And on Friday I joined the Social Click. Like, it was really bang, bang, bang. So I didn't have a lot of floundering time, where I felt like I was completely without any kind of direction, because suddenly I had this community of people who have been there and done that. They've screwed stuff up. They can tell me how to not screw stuff up. And just to give me the confidence.
Or at least commiserate.
Exactly. Because nobody can appreciate what a business owner goes through like another business owner, Yeah. And so that, for me, that was a huge deal, is having that support structure, even though I don't know that I consciously said, I need to make sure I have some good support, but it really made a difference. And, if I probably would have met you at some point in the copy world, but that's how we met. That's how you gave me that very first opportunity to do copywriting. And really that's the rest is history. I do think I have a lot of respect for the gumption that people have when they just walk in there and they're like, I'm done and I'm going to figure this out. Have an exit strategy.
We're not saying, just burn all the bridges or anything.
Don't burn your bridges. And I really, that was important to me, as I wanted to maintain those relationships. And, and it really became more of a, let's see what I can do with this, instead of, oh my gosh, everything is riding on this, because that would have been so much pressure that I don't know that I would have necessarily taken that route. In 2020, when my husband retired from the company and came to work with me, that was a different level of stress and just pressure of, all of a sudden, like, my ability to attract clients and and serve our clients was like, that was determining whether or not we could pay our mortgage and eat, So, but by that time, I'd already hit 5-figure months, and I was a lot more confident in my ability to find the right clients.
And you had grown a network. You were out there being active online in front of the people that are your ideal clients, which is super, super important. You weren't just a newbie on the scene. You put in your time, and it is a whole new level of pressure, but it makes you grow in a good way. Like,
oh yes, 100%. I never would have learned as much about myself if I hadn't gone through this process. And I actually, in this week, I've had 4 or 5 friends who have been laid off from the company that we worked for. And I'm just like, my heart is broken, because I know that they are flat, like they are completely blindsided by this. Most of them have been working for the company for over 20 years. It was, not a performance issue. It was a money issue. And it just goes back to like, the company we worked for used to be a very good hometown company, even though it was relatively large. It's not anymore. They don't care about the people. They, and there was mergers and stuff like that. So other stuff happened, but my husband and I have looked at each other so often over the last weeks and months saying, I'm so glad we got out of there. Like we really dodged a bullet. And it breaks my heart for the people who are still there. And it's funny because I made a TikTok about this yesterday. I don't say that very often because I am not good like Christa at, being consistent on TikTok. But I, my tendency is to want to go, oh my gosh, let me tell you how you can start your own business and you can do, but a lot of them that's not what they want. You've been working in the corporate environment for 25 years. That's what and what's comfortable. And, a lot of them.
It's a different mindset.
World. Yes, 100%. Completely different mindset. And so I'm keeping my mouth shut. And if somebody wants to know about how to start an online business, I would be glad to talk them through it. But right now I'm just writing glowing recommendations on LinkedIn for everybody. Their jobs,
Oh, that's really kind. I think, unfortunately, with the way the economy is right now, heading into a recession, we're probably going to see more of that. And I've always been so glad that in my instance, it was, I had to figure something out. And it was you just jump in and you just do it. But having the foundation now, where I'm actually bringing people into my agency and able to do that, knowing that no matter what, there are businesses out there that are going to need marketing even more than ever because it's a struggling time.
Exactly.
It's a great time to start your own service-based business because people are going to be looking for different ways to continue to grow. They're going to need services and they're going to continue looking. So if that's something that you're interested in, don't let being scared of the market or the economy be what holds you back, because it's actually the hugest time of opportunity out there.
You're right. Because if you don't market, you don't make money. And all these companies want to make money. So they are not going to stop marketing, Exactly. That's where, there's a tendency to be like, we'll just pull all of our marketing budget so we can save money. And it's like, that's really not the way. It's not the way it should work.
It's like saying, I want to save money, so I'm not going to put gas in my car.
Right.
Meanwhile, exactly. you can't go to work and earn money then. That's, the parallel is there. Like, I'm going to save money, so I'm going to stop investing in marketing. Well, how are your people going to find you? How are the consumers and the clients?
Yeah, it's true. And that's one of the hardest parts about business is putting yourself out there and getting visible, because some of us are not great at that.
It is one of those things where you have to find a way to do it. And there are lots of different ways, thankfully. It doesn't have to be just the same as what somebody else does, but it is important to have a presence out there online. So kudos to everyone who's out there doing the thing, even though it feels awkward and uncomfortable and is just another thing to have to add to your day right now. It gets easier. It gets better. It makes a difference. So let's talk a little bit about email. Obviously, there's tens of millions of businesses in the United States, and they all need email. You can't tell me they don't, right? And so many of them don't have it. What would you say to a copywriter right now who knows that they're interested in writing email? What would you tell them as they approach people about offering their services? Like, what are some things that they should say that can help them catch the attention of people out there who aren't doing it but should be doing it?
Right. Or they know they should be doing it, but they don't know how to start. Well, the first thing is you go let your dog in because she won't stop scratching.
If it makes you feel any better, we can't hear it, but this is my life. This is my life. Yeah. It revolves around the dog.
And the dog and the cats, my cats have always been this way too. They know the one thing that just grates on my nerves, and that scratching at the door is one of them.
They do it, and they know that they can.
Exactly. And it produces results. But yeah, I think what they don't understand about email marketing is, first of all, it's been around like most of our lifetimes, like those of us who have,
our professional lifetime for sure.
Our entire professional life. Like I got my first email address in college, I guess, when I started college, and I have probably not missed a day checking email since then, and that was a very long time ago. Right. And there's a stat out there, and I'm not sure exactly where it comes from, but 85% of adults in the US have an email address.
You almost can't not have one.
Right nowadays, like, you have to log into your patient portal for your doctor to be able to do,
your banking, your everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of those things that, people, we all know how this goes. People get blinded by the shiny object, right? The brand, the new platform, whatever it is. Now it's TikTok. Everybody's talking about TikTok, which is awesome. But social media is a tool, and it's all about how you use it. The thing that we marketers always say, and we keep saying it because it's true.
Yeah.
You need to build your business on land that you own, not land that you borrow. Social media is land that you borrow, because you don't have any control over who sees your content. And honestly, you don't have a control over what decisions Meta or ByteDance or any of the other ones make that are going to directly affect you. When you have an email list, you don't have to worry about anybody else. You can always stay in contact with your email list. And every time, Facebook goes down or Instagram goes down, you'll see people sending emails going, hey, remember the thing about email marketing where we said it was so important? This is why. But the other thing is, and, I think sometimes people, if we can give a real life example, sometimes that kind of hits better for some people. And what I say a lot of times is, back, 8 years ago, Facebook, then it really was just Facebook, bought Instagram, right? Mm-hmm. Why did they do that? They had the engineers to create the technology. Like, they didn't buy Instagram's technology.
Right.
They bought Instagram's customer list. That is the inherent value in your company is your customer list. Yeah. And your customer list is your email address, your email list, especially for those of us who are, in online business, service-based businesses, not necessarily. I mean, it works for product-based businesses too, but you really have to think about, okay, how much time and effort am I putting into not just growing that list, but nurturing that list? Because these are people who have shown at least a modicum of interest in what I do. I need to take care of them. I need to treat them as if they are already customers, because I want them to become that, And so when people balk at email marketing, I mean, I don't preach. I don't launch into a diatribe about why I think you need to be doing email marketing. But the truth is, if you're not doing email marketing, you are setting yourself up to have a lot of negative repercussions that you don't have any control over. And, we as a species like to be in control. And when you're a business owner, you like to be in control, and letting go of that control can sometimes can be difficult. So yeah, I mean, the first thing that I ask somebody is, do you have an email list? And most of the time they do, but a lot of times you get I know I should, but I haven't started one yet, or I have a list, but I don't email it, or whatever. So get a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. When people say that to me, and I get that a lot, in the coaching programs that I'm in, when I'm asking members, like, do you have a list? Have you been emailing them? And like, well, not really. Like, okay, so it's kind of like, let me use it. It's kind of like if you had a physical store and people walked in the door and you didn't greet them and you never came to see what they needed. You never presented your products to them. They just had to stand in the middle of an empty room until finally they just turned around and walked out. That's how it feels when you don't email your list. They came for a reason. And if you don't give them a reason to stay,
they're not going to. Right. Exactly. And they're never going to turn into a customer. In that regard. Yeah. And that's totally true. So, for a lot of people, they're like, okay, great. Well, I'll just set up my email marketing platform and I'll be good to go. And it's like, yes, you need one of those, but you also need a plan. You need that welcome sequence in place, but then you also need to figure out how you're going to nurture these folks, because a lot of people get so focused on building their email list that they forget how important it is to nurture the existing list. There's some stat somewhere that says it's, 5 times more expensive or something like that to acquire a new customer than it is to
upsell, cross-sell, or
Yeah. And you've already, even if they haven't bought from you yet, they have already become familiar with you. So that's less work that you have to do, so you can just continue to build that relationship, because that's really what email marketing is about. A lot of people they don't necessarily understand, and marketing in general, marketing and sales are 2 separate processes. And in direct response marketing, which is what we do, they're typically are combined, into the same experience. But the goal of email marketing is, 1, to build relationships. Like, that really is the goal, for them to get to know you, for you to get to know them and what they need, so that you can better tailor what you do to the people who actually need your help. The other side of that is, email, like, the purpose of your email marketing is to get them to the place where the sale is made.
Right.
So it doesn't matter if it's an application to work with you, or book a call, or, a sales page, a full-on sales page. But the goal and the responsibility of email marketing is not to make the sale. Right. The responsibility is to get you to the place where the sale occurs.
Right. It's a vehicle.
Yeah.
Gets you to the destination. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. But it's not going to take the pretty pictures of the Grand Canyon for you. Like, you got to do that. Your sales team got to do that.
Yeah. And I talk about that a lot, where there are certain things that copywriters are responsible for, and there are certain things that copywriters are not responsible for. And so it's important to set those expectations right away with your clients. Like, you are responsible, client, for closing the sale, delivering the results, following up and doing customer service, and showing up online. I am responsible for creating the journey to get them to the place where they can make that decision.
Yeah, absolutely. And, one thing I will say, since we are talking to a lot of writers, you can do email marketing. You can be an email marketer without doing the technical side of things. I know the technical side can get very overwhelming for people. I do both because I enjoy it. I like getting my hands into these systems and figuring out how I can, do something better. But that's my background. Actually, when I quit my job, I was in IT. So, you don't have to do both. You can just focus on writing. But you need to make sure that the client has somebody who can implement the emails, both from an automated series perspective, and then also your nurture emails, your ongoing emails,
scheduled or direct send. Yeah, exactly. And I'm on the other side of the fence. Like, I don't do the automation. I just don't have the patience for that. But I think we all bring a little something, so, my zone of genius for my clients is not on the automations end. In fact, I tell them, they're in no way, shape, or form do you want me inside your guts of your tech. Like, you just don't. And I highly don't recommend that. So, and they laugh, but they get the idea, right? They get the idea.
Right. I said the same thing about Canva. Like, I have no business in Canva.
There you go. There you go. Stay away from the graphics. And that's kind of like, I enjoy that part because I have a
Right,
design
exactly.
background,
That is one of your areas of expertise. That's what you started out as, right? As a graphic designer?
Yep.
Yeah.
I created promotional materials for the cattle auction industry of all the niche markets. So you don't have to come from a writer background to become a sales copywriter, as long as you understand the principles. And I liked what you said at the beginning. There's frameworks, there's formulas, and when you follow them, they work. And as you get familiar with the foundational stuff, then you can begin to tweak and try different things and put your own spin on it, according to what the audience is telling you. But yeah, I just feel like there's no better freelance online business opportunity out there than writing. I love it.
I completely agree.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. If anybody wants to connect with Lynley outside of this group, she's going to drop some links in the comments of this video when we're done here. And thank you so much for joining us and giving us your wisdom on email marketing, launching your own business, coming out of corporate, working with your husband. It's been a super blast talking to you today.
It always is, Christa. Thank you.
We'll see you later. Have a great weekend, everyone.